Does having ADHD really mean that you can't focus at all? And what is hyperfocus, and is it a good thing? Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Kahn. I'm a licensed psychologist, and today I want to answer some of the internet's biggest questions about ADHD and focus. Does having ADHD mean you can't focus at all? So this is one of the great myths of ADHD. And ADHD is so misunderstood at times. What we see is that people with ADHD have actually too much focus. They're focused on things all over their environment. And their ability to hyperfocus or dive deep into certain things is certainly a big part of their profile. So ADHD is more about the difficulty in shifting focus and maintaining, particularly on things that other people want you to focus on. What is hyperfocus? Okay, first, let me emphasize, hyperfocus isn't a symptom of ADHD, but it's something that is commonly seen. Everyone is prone to periods of hyperfocus at times. In this case, hyperfocus is about falling deeply into certain topics and ideas to the point where the rest of the world sort of falls away. So what you might see in your kids is that they're playing a video game and it's incredibly hard to grab their attention. You might have to call their name a number of times. In adults, this will commonly look like getting deeply engrossed in an interest for a lengthy period of time in an intense way where the world is really falling away. Is hyperfocus a good thing? Hyperfocus can be a very good thing, particularly if the thing that you're hyperfocused on is something that is having to do with your work or a demand of that moment that you're supposed to be engaged in that task. So for me, for example, when I'm asked to do some research on ADHD, I can really fall into it and it's great for my work. It really helps me be successful. On the other hand, if I'm engaged in some other interest like music and I should be doing my work or I should be doing something else, that hyperfocus can really be a problem. It can lead to impairment and preventing me or someone else from doing the things that they need to do in daily life. Can you make yourself hyperfocus? Well, yeah, I wish. This would be an outstanding thing. And many times when I'm talking to parents or I'm talking to adults with ADHD, they genuinely desire to make this happen, and sometimes they think they can. They'll say something like, you see how focused you are on that game? Now, we've got to figure out how to get you this focused on some other activity. That's not how hyperfocus works. Hyperfocus is driven by your interest. Your neurology is locking on to certain things, and it's not something you can artificially create. Hyperfocus versus hyperfixation. This is really important. These two words sound really similar. Hyperfocus is really that falling into a certain topic and falling in deeply, where everything else sort of falls away. When we talk about things like hyperfixation, this is a really multiplied version of this. And we might often see this in folks who are neurodiverse. For example, when I've worked with folks on the autism spectrum, they might become so fixated and focused on one specific topic that no matter what else people are talking about, they can't shift. It impairs their ability to do things like interact or to shift to other activities, and the intensity level is that much greater. And hey, if this is resonating with you, be sure to check out the other videos on our channel. We have a lot of ADHD content around things like executive function, mental health, and procrastination. Does fidgeting actually help you with focus? This is a great question, and it's a little bit nuanced. What we have to keep in mind here is that there is some research that says using fidgets can actually increase attention and focus in some people. For folks who are adults who've been fidgeting their whole lives, engaging in fidget activities can be super helpful. And oftentimes we'll see that they're things that they've really developed over time. But it's important to understand that the fidget can't be something that is overly distracting or something that draws too much attention. Remember, in ADHD, what we commonly see is the difficulty in shifting focus from one item to the other. If the fidget distracts you and you're not as focused, obviously it's something you need to shift, and it varies from person to person. How can you improve focus with ADHD? This is a question I ask myself every day. And every day it's an ongoing battle of trying to improve my focus and manage my own ADHD. Strategically speaking, one of the things that's super important to me is to remove as many distractors as I can from my working environment. That means putting away your phone. That means blocking certain things that are really interesting and things that I tend to hyperfocus on. Another thing that I use really consistently is making sure that I put on noise blocking headphones. And finally, I use tons and tons of schedules and to-do list items. They allow me to structure my day and put my day in order. Here's an important final thought. One of the things we really have to keep in mind, and this comes to me from years of experience, both as someone with ADHD and as someone who works with folks with ADHD, not being able to focus and struggling with focus is something that people don't intend to do. Whether it's a child struggling or an adult struggling with this challenge, one of the key goals here is to develop self-advocacy, which is the ability to ask for what you need and to identify what's not working for you. And that's got to be one of the most important things you can do in order to navigate ADHD and manage focus. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, we actually have a lot more content like this on our channel, so make sure to subscribe. By doing so, you can help to further Understood's mission, which is to make sure that the 70 million people with learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia, can thrive.